Welcome back to Lost for Words with Lori. It is Friday. Actually, I think it's Saturday morning now. And, yeah, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You gotta love the late night musings of your heroine, right? Because that's what the Lori do. Yeah, late nights, right? Friday. I don't have a curfew on non-school nights. And so I get to talk to you beautiful people and lay out the facts, right? Just tell it like it is and go with the flow, because that's what the Lori do. So I hope all you beautiful people are having a wonderful weekend anyway. And, yeah, I'm up late, because I'm up late. Had a good night. I hope you all did as well. Tonight I get to, or this morning, I guess we could call it, something I've been working on for a while. You know, the interwebs is like a sociology experiment, right, from hell. And one of the terms that I've been using for quite a few months is called the island of misfit toys, because, you know, that's kind of what I refer to my little circle of friends kind of here on the interwebs as. And you know, it's been a minute. I've worked on this thought for quite a while, and I try to keep these things short and sweet for the most part, because, you know, I don't want to bore everybody to death with my drivel. And you know, it's all kind of for me anyway. But I think a lot about social media. I think a lot about the internet and how it affects everybody, because it does. I mean, this is our life now. This is the way the world is. And you know, I've been on the internet for a hot minute. I've been on the interwebs since its inception, since the mid '90s when it became a thing. I mean, you guys all remember dial-up, right? You know, AOL. You got mail, and having to wait for that shit to connect. And if the phone would ring, it would knock you off your fucking internet. I mean, the good old days, right? AOL was the thing, and oh God, the good old days, right? And I remember all of that, you know. And since its inception of the internet, it's been an experiment socially. You know, back in the day, we used to have to call our friends on the phone, and you had to go outside and play, and you had to go hang out with your people in person, and then the internet happened, and you could communicate with people instantaneously, electronically. And, you know, I've been thinking about this a lot, and how it's evolved through its phases over time. You know, it went from AOL and MSN Messenger and all of that to, you know, MySpace, which I absolutely loved that platform, to, you know, Crackbook, to Facebook, to Twitter, to YouTube, to all, you know, the TikTok, all of the different platforms that we have now. And we see all the constructs of social relations play out over time, right? I mean, for me, it's been 25 years. And it's interesting, and you can learn a lot from that if you choose to pay attention. It can be good, it can be bad, it can be indifferent. But one thing has become very clear as of late, over the last few months, that the tribalism and the clique mentality and the extension of high school mentality that it has is quite interesting if you break it down. Like the movie from the 80s called, you know, The Breakfast Club, right? You know, where you have all these cliques. You got the jocks and the sportos and the, you know, the popular chick and the dweebs and the, you know, all these different socioeconomic groups of people. And the internet is very much like that as well, not just in the different platforms, but just in the different groups and communities that are created up around that. And it's become quite, it's been on my mind a lot. And especially as how it revolves around my island of misfit toys. These people, this dynamic group of people that I choose to call my friends, and my crew, my group, you know, the people that I hang out with on social media. The island of misfit toys. Because, you know, we're all misfits on the internet, right? But there's lots of reasons. Why did I choose to go on social media back in like 1997? When AOL was a thing, and I was a single parent. I had a baby girl at home, and I had nothing to do. I was working nights, and I was home all day with my daughter, and then my mom would come home from work, and I would go to work, and I would work 4 to midnight. And during the day, I had an infant at home, and when she slept, I needed something to do. And on the weekends, when she'd go see her dad, I discovered the internet, and I would dial up, and I would go into these music chat rooms, and I made friends. And ironically, I'm still friends with some of those people today, 25 years later, which is really crazy cool. But, you learn to socialize, you learn to make friends and have commonalities and interests, and it's changed over the years, again, with evolution of technology and platforms and all of the things. It's way different than it was back then, right? But, I was looking for friends conveniently where I didn't have to leave my house because I had responsibilities, right? And, there's lots of reasons why people, chose the internet for things. A lot of people wanted to play games online. A lot of people wanted to do music. A lot of people were, dating online. Whatever the reasons were, it was an escape from your first world, that's why we had friends back then. And, I think everybody's always looking for something outside of distractions, right, from their first world. And the internet was great for that back in the day, and it was really exciting to just be able to hang out and do those things and make friends, and it was exciting and it was fun. I made, like I said, I made some great friends, and we would sit in our AOL metal chat and talk music for hours, and it was great. And to be fair, that is how I met my ex-husband. I met my daughter's stepfather was in a music chat, on the internet, 20 years ago, and the rest was history at that moment, over a commonality. And we were married for many, many years, and he's a good man. There's no love lost there. I mean, we're great friends, not great friends, but we're still friends today. Life happens. So a lot of people were using the internet for love, for friends, for looking for, something bigger than themselves, and many people found it. But also, being on the internet didn't come without a price, right? I mean, for all of the good things that the internet creates, there are also bad things. Because in addition to that, you find that there are a lot of people who present themselves as things that they're not. And there were liars, and there were grifters, and there were catfishers, and the internet became a playground for sociopaths and psychos, and sometimes even worse. And people were starting to discover that the internet was a playground for those people, and there were no real consequences for your actions. And that kind of fast forwards to today, and what I've been talking about here on my platform about toxic cesspool world, and the bullying and the drama and the gatekeeping and scorekeeping that goes along with that, and how the tremendous amount of negativity that goes with that. And so with the positive side also comes the negative side. And as society's changed, and as we've all got caught up in having the internet be an instantaneous, immediate tool for all of those things, people get caught up in that, where it becomes more important than their first world. And what they fail to recognize is that a lot of it is not real. It doesn't take the place or replace your first world. It is a distraction, and it can be used for very positive things. It has been for me in my past, but it also presents challenges for negative things. especially for people who are vulnerable or people who have mental disabilities or challenges or who are mentally ill. Again, sociopaths and psychos will prey on marginalized people and take advantage of that. It's not a really inviting environment for people who are not prepared for those kinds of things, because there are no consequences, and there's no accountability. As for the positive things, it's wonderful for creating platforms for people who want to make money for their crafts, or it can be a healthy place for acceptance for social outlets, and learning, and the internet can be a positive place for growth. For me, again, I find it to be a great outlet with my island of misfits, for playing games, for socializing, for learning and growing, for being able to find commonality with some pretty cool people. But I've also found some pretty negative bullying and drama that is terrible. I mean, you do get to... You have to take the good with the bad in all of life, whether it's first world or social media or the internet. You get to choose, how to prioritize. You get to choose what you present out there, whether you put your private life or keep it professional on whatever platform that you're using. But you have to accept the consequences of those actions regardless. And you have to be prepared for those things. And as society shifts and changes, being open-minded to understanding how these things work. And if you're a parent, you need to teach your kids about those things and the dangers of that. It's no different than if you were to teach a teenager how to drive. You have to show them the ropes. You have to teach them the dangers of operating a motor vehicle, the do's and don'ts. You don't drink and drive. You don't operate a motor vehicle when you're impaired. It's kind of the same thing. You have to teach younger generations the proper way to conduct yourself on the internet. Just as you would teach a child how to behave at school, how to conduct themselves, that there are consequences for bad behavior. If you want to teach them to be good humans in their first world, you should be teaching them to be good humans in a virtual world as well. Granted, there may be no real consequences to be a keyboard warrior, but what kind of generations are we raising? If we can use the internet for good as well as people using it for bad, we need to teach people to establish good boundaries here as well as in their first world, and have positive expectations and be accountable and be transparent in all things. Because if not, then you have the shit show that goes on in toxic cesspool world, where people are bullying and scorekeeping, and you're teaching generations bad life lessons and bad behavior that carries over into their first world. If they're doing it in a virtual world, chances are it's translated from their first world, and that's toxic. It doesn't say a whole lot about these people, what they're really like as true human beings in their first world, if they're acting like that in a virtual world. And to me, that's pretty sad. We've been given technology to evolve and grow to use that for good, and people are using it for terrible bullying and just to be sociopaths, and to just relentlessly dox people and treat them like garbage. And for what? Does it make you feel like a bigger human, a bigger man or woman, or a tough guy or gal to go around treating people shitty because you have nothing good in your own first world? So you have to do it on a social media platform because why? Because there's no consequences? Because eventually these people get found out and then they just move on to another platform and do it again. But for what? Does it make you feel like a good human? Because at the end of the day, regardless of what your belief system, we're all going to die, right? And life is too short to be living miserable. Misery loves company. One of the greatest things about my little island of misfit toys, and it's not mine, I don't own it, but our crew, the people that I choose to spend time with on social media when I'm not busy working or taking in stray cats and nurturing a cockatiel that has been my companion for most of the time that social media has existed, is that they're all interested in positive movement forward and being better humans too. That's the commonality I've drawn around me, is goodness, learning, growing, and we're all learning together. But it's not malicious. It's not hateful. We all came here for, well, we're all kind of met for a common reason, and we all branch out and reach out into different communities. But for the most part, once it dawned on people that the negativity really sucked and it became more of a hindrance to be part of social media and it wasn't enjoyable anymore, and why were we even involved in it, especially in toxic cesspool world, what I've been ranting about on my platform for so long, is once we all kind of understood that the best way is to just not play those stupid breakfast clubs, high school extension, cool kids table games, is things got easier when you just stopped and used the social media for what you came there for in the first place, and that was for fellowship and fun and friends, not for fake bullshit lies and drama. If you wanted to watch drama, you would flip on TV and watch a movie or, a series, a Netflix show, or Game of Thrones, right? Or go to the movies. That's what that's about. Not your first world, not people who would attack you and make fun of you like high school and throw juice boxes and and scream and cry and dig into your personal shit. If you chose to put it out there and draw attention to it, that's you bad, I guess. But there are some pretty toxic people on the internet who will use that. But you can establish your own boundaries and hold them solid and just ignore the bullshit. And the stronger you become in yourself and keep those expectations and in line and let people know, I'm just not interested, then you can find your own island of misfit toys and have good, positive engagement with people. I'm hoping everybody can find their space, their positive place where they can feel accepted, feel welcomed, and have fun and enjoy the platforms that they like to go to for whatever it is that they do, and have it be good again and not filled with drama. I'm hoping everyone has a wonderful weekend. Remember to wash your fucking hands and be a good human. I love you guys.